So next up in the program, we have Isto Vanhamaki telling us about establishing and maintaining business relations in China and Asia. And I've just heard that Juha Tuominen is currently, I think, in China, so he won't be joining us today. But we have Isto here for us. So without further ado, welcome Isto. And please, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. I can share my screen probably here. Yes. All right. Can you see my slides now?
Yes. Great.
Very good. All right. Thank you for the invitation to this seminar. It's been very interesting to listen in this morning because, of course, I'm not an expert in the gaming industry, but some very nice new things have been learned already today, and hopefully I will give some new views also for the international business and especially the business in China and Asia. My name is Isto Vanhamaki, and I'm representing Lahti region in Finland. So I'm working for the Lahti region development company Ladec, which is a municipality-owned business support office for the local companies. So we are actively developing the companies and their business in the region, and also building up the international connections and business opportunities for those companies that are based here in the Lahti region. And we are also facilitating local companies to get in contact with international investors. So we are actively searching for the partners from international markets that could invest in our region or establish some new business in the region as well. I have made this presentation together with my good friend and colleague from China, Mr. Juha Tuominen. Juha is working as an Asia director for a company called Roboride, which is developing autonomous transport systems and smart city solutions. And Juha is also Lahti region's representative in China. So we are working very closely together in the development of Asia business for the Finnish companies as well. But as said, unfortunately, Juha is not able to join personally this event today, but I will share also Juha's points in this presentation. So about the agenda for our presentation, I will first go through some basic facts, just a glimpse into the China market and information about China as a market, and what is needed to take into account when planning business in China. And these notes are mainly based in Juha's long-term experience in China market. Juha has been working in China for about 15 years already. And in the second part, I'll shortly tell you about Lahti region's activities in China, and share also some experiences of the city level and company cooperation that we have done during the past years here in Lahti region and in the China market. And then I also tell you some ideas of what kind of cooperation we could do in the games industry and also esports. We have also what we can do together, how we can go together to China and other countries in Asia through the Lahti region's connections and role in the business development between maybe Europe and Asia as well. All right, and first some basic facts of China, and maybe of course the first and the most important thing is that China remains number one in the world in terms of population. So the 1.4 billion inhabitants in China. That's a huge and enormous market. And when talking about any business sector, you just cannot like say that China would not be important for you. It's one of the most important markets in the world for all the business sectors. And the biggest like social development trend in China is urbanization, which is continuing very strong. This is driven, for example, by people that are searching for better jobs in the cities instead of the poor countryside. And also during the recent years, the government in China has put in place some regulations that make it easier to move from a place to another inside the country. As the main cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, they have become very crowded and expensive for the people that come from the countryside. They have also started to move to other cities, a little bit smaller cities that are so-called second-tier cities, but actually they are not that small either, as there are actually more than 100 cities in China with a population more than 1 million. So we are talking about very big cities in the scale of if we compare to the European cities or the Northern European cities. So the scale is very, very different. And it's very important also to remember that even if China is one unified country, it's important that to realize that there are many different local cultures and even languages in the country. So China is also a country of drastic differences. And while these early mentioned cities, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, they are modern cities. They are very, let's say, you can say almost Western style cities, where you can find all the business opportunities and all the Western companies as well. And comparing to the middle China and the Western parts of the country, the modern development it's actually just in the beginning, so they are not very developed areas. And in terms of economy, China is still expected to trail US in GDP, and for a few years they have been now number 2 in the total GDP. But if we compare the GDP per capita, China is not in the top list in the world. So while the country and its economy is very big, it's also important to consider China as one, not to consider China as one big market, or you need to share it in smaller pieces. And if you see the picture here, you can see that the 31 provinces in China, they are very big. They are like countries themselves if you compare the population to different countries in the world. As you can see the flags there, and they are actually matching the GDP level of those countries and provinces. So we need to put China market in smaller pieces when considering establishing the business there. When talking about the characteristics of the and defining the Chinese market, naturally there are many different viewpoints, and we have listed here these 3 highlights. Probably the most significant to remember is that China is probably the most developed country in the terms of internet services. So while the internet is closed, or perhaps because of that, those 3 giant companies that are Baidu, which is a search engine based business, and then Alibaba, which is a platform for web shops, online shops, and then Tencent, which owns the WeChat communication platform. They together dominate the industry. Everything in China is online, which has trained the Chinese consumers as well to buy everything online. And WeChat itself, it's a must for everyone in China for the communication, and actually other things also, because the WeChat platform, you can use it for ordering food from restaurants, do the grocery store shopping, order a taxi, book flights, hotels, everything in the normal life. You can do it through WeChat. You can even apply for a bank loan from straight through the WeChat platform. And for the years, we have known China from its bad air quality and polluting industries, and the green values. In that case, they have been raised in the focus. So now the green value are in the core of the development, and the situation actually is very much better than, for example, in 10 years ago. But still there is a long way to go. But today it's not anymore like just talk. During the last years, China has changed and improved the environment, and the environmental laws very much, and maybe even more importantly, the implementation has become more strict, and the violations of these laws, they have been punished also. So the progression is very positive. And the third characteristics we raised here, the innovation. The country has been investing heavily to develop the innovation capabilities, and for example, in AI, autonomous technologies, nanotechnologies, etc. So a key thing here for the policy development is that they are supporting these kind of innovation-based industries, and they have made this kind of special program made in China 2025, which is promoting this kind of China-made innovation industry. And this program states actually the aim of becoming the world leader in the development of technologies. So that's very important to understand, and that when thinking about some technology export to China, for example, you always face this this kind of development programs that they are heavily supporting the local business. And then in this slide we have collected the 5 differences that define the business culture in China. So obviously everyone has heard the differences between the Chinese and the Europe business cultures, and we need to understand that the Chinese are very proud of their culture. So we need to understand that what is behind of their behavior. And when you go to China, you see that they are very the hospitality is very high, and sometimes even overwhelming. And but when you go to China, you don't need to be afraid of not knowing about how to behave or what are the local habits. The locals are very happy also to show and teach, but you need to be interested in what kind of cultural perspectives they have there. The concept of leadership is very different. China is traditionally very hierarchical society, and in work contexts it means that managers and directors are seen as the ones that have all the answers actually, and the leaders usually decide even on very detailed level questions. This means that you should actually reach the high enough level in the Chinese organization in order to get any decisions, even in the minor issues actually. And Most of the time it's not easy, and it takes time, and you need to meet these people for several times. And you need to keep in mind that nothing very concrete or not any agreements will not be agreed in the first, second, or even in the third meeting. It's a long-term work. It can take years to get the answer you are requiring. And problem solving attitude is very special in China. Disagreements or problems are in general, they are very sensitive issues in Chinese business culture. They have this called face saving culture, which is very typical in the Asian countries, and the individuals tend to avoid the direct conflicts. It's very important that in this kind of conflict or negotiation situations, you avoid the straight confrontation. And fixing a problem requires also time, and the goal is not to do it in a way that nobody loses their face. One result of this hierarchical society is that the individuals and their opinions are sometimes very difficult to get. So they are sharing the others' opinions, and this applies in particular to non-leadership persons, but it also sometimes the leaders are doing this the same. So do not accept any direct answers to questions, and if you are asking about some like hard facts to say. The teamwork concept, this is the same as in the leadership. You need to have the team always has a leader, and the others are following that example that the leader is showing. Networking, Chinese people are very good and efficient in the networking. So the most important thing when you go to China, you need to have the business card in Chinese language, because that's your like first impress in China business negotiations. And the normal procedure when you meet new people, the introduction is actually done by exchanging the business cards. And actually nowadays it's very normal also to change the WeChat connection in that moment also. And then about when you're getting ready for the Chinese business, there are several books, of course, on the topic, but here are some highlights and the key things that on the higher level, and what is needed to take into account. Of course, planning and doing the budget realistically is a very important thing. It's important that your decision to explore the China market, it's planned and budgeted according to your resources. China is not a hobby or something that you do when you just have time. We can say that it's a waste of money and time if you are not serious in China. You need to take a minimum of 2 years plan to set the concrete goals. It can take several years before you start making money in China, but that's something you need to be prepared and ready for also. You need to be present and agile. You cannot develop your China business from home. You need to prepare to spend time in China, maybe some months in the beginning. You need to have your organization's highest level support, and also your position should allow you to make the decisions on the spot. So Chinese business people, they are not waiting for decisions like for the months or weeks. They need the decision in very immediate time scale. And of course, surprises and challenges. You will face them. That's for sure. And you need to also notice that the differences between the areas in country might differ pretty much. So what you learned in Beijing today can be totally opposite in Shanghai tomorrow. One of the biggest challenges in China is finding reliable information, and also in that sense that at the time when it's written and translated to English, it might be the original information might be changed already. So that's very important to know. And also what you have been told by the Chinese, it's not maybe the whole story. So be ready to search also the background of those messages that you get. And the localization is very important, which has been talked already in the morning session today. So and that's not only for the product or service, it's the local value chains that are very different. The potential customers might be different than at home. The key selling points might be completely different in China, and also the revenue models, they are very different than in Europe. And you need to utilize all the help that is available. For example, the EU-China SME Center is one to contact if you need some help. And for the Finnish companies, we have many resources available in Team Finland services that can be utilized when going to China market. Well, that's basically our message of China, how to prepare for that. And when telling about what kind of help is possible to have, I share some thoughts here in the Lahti region level. So of course Lahti region is also helping companies here, but we are also inviting companies from other countries to join our network. So that's why I wanted to share some thoughts about that too. So we have been active recent years, for example, in the winter sports development in China, and established this kind of special Chinese brand, Lahti Winter Sports Capital. And we are focused pretty much on the city level cooperation, which is very important actually in China. And it gives opportunities for the business level cooperation when the city level is done very well. And Lahti has signed, for example, a friendship city agreement with the city of Zhangjiakou, which is one of the host cities for the Beijing Winter Olympics next year, 2022. And this is something that opens very good doors for the business development in China scale. I wanted to raise also some views of the Lahti sports ecosystem in this presentation, as it gives also some opportunities for the games business and the development of esports. And Lahti is very, we have a big variety of sports disciplines included in the Lahti sports ecosystem, and one of the most important operator and facility in this ecosystem is Pajulahti Olympic Training Center, that has established a special esports education program as a part of the high-level athlete training. So a couple of words of this esports education here. If you see this an interesting way to do some cooperation also in the games business. So they have created this kind of ecosystem around the esports, and they actually are pioneers in Finland in the esports education in general. And they have established a degree study that focus on esports and create knowledge of esports coaching as a part of the high-level athlete training. And the education program is part of the normal Olympic training center operations, and they are also building an own esports team, which the students are able to work as coaches as well. And they also build up some startup teams and that support the esports related entrepreneurship among the students. And they have built up this kind of high standard facility for gaming and also testing facilities to analyze and enhance the esports athletes' performance. And they work in close cooperation with the Finnish Esport Union and arrange different kind of activities for teams and organizations in the gaming sector and the esports sector as well. Then the very last slides, I have a couple of minutes time. So this just to sum up the opportunities that Lahti can give to this network as well. We are actively developing the international cooperation platform, how to say, between the Europe and Asia. And we of course invite all our friends from Europe and Asia to join this network and to do the joint business development through our networks in Europe and Asia. And actually one concrete tool to do this cooperation is this kind of Smash event platform, which is a startup and investor platform that has originally started as a spin-off of Slash event. And we arrange annual events in Lahti, and also we have planned some upcoming events in Tokyo in the end of this year and during the Beijing Olympic Games in the next year. And the next event will take place in 1 month from now, 23rd to 25th April, and that's one. And that's this kind of online hackathon event, which is with the topic of sustainability in the sports. So we also invite international teams to join this event to plan their solutions to these given challenges, and the solutions can be, for example, games or applications that support the sustainable development. And shortly, the challenges are how to minimize the carbon footprint in the international sports events, and the other challenge is how to make sports more accessible for the people with disabilities. And both of these challenges can be solved like game-alike applications or solutions. So I warmly invite teams from your networks as well to join this event. If you got interested, you can get some more detailed descriptions and information from the website, which is shown there, smashevents.fi. But that was my presentation. Hopefully I gave some new thoughts about doing business in China and also the opportunities of going to Asian markets together. And I very warmly invite you all to come to Lahti then when the traveling is possible again. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Isto. I guess we're running a bit short on time, but hey, let's squeeze in one question before we let Sophie take the stage. So one important question that's been popping up in at least in my discussions with game companies is that, do you really need to have like a local business ID in China to make deals and negotiations there, or can you go through some sort of like an agency?
There are many ways, of course, to go to China market, and then the most important thing is that you have a very good partner there. So in the first phase, if you go to do the negotiations, you don't need to have the business ID there, the local company, but of course you can do this kind of negotiations through the local partner. But then later on, when you do the business, of course, it's very important to have also the legal company there with the local partner or the own company.
Okay, so as a kind of recap, what would be the kind of the definite cultural aspects you should know when dealing with Chinese businesses?
Well, maybe the most important thing is that also mentioned in the presentation, that the information you get is not necessarily the whole picture. So be curious, ask questions, try to find out what is the exact values that are behind the behavior or the offers of the people, so that you get the clear picture that what those business partners are searching from this cooperation. That's maybe the main issue.
Okay, thank you, Isto. Very insightful presentation, and I hope you will be available as well for more questions throughout the day.
Thank you very much.